And we're live.
Did you hear that Kevin Gastelum was popped by USADA?
Kevin Gastelum.
He's
I can't picture. There's too many names now.
He looks Mexican to me, but I think he's not. He used to fight
That
at 170,
helped.
but
He looks thick and short. Yeah.
Yeah, he kept missing 170, and he
Yeah,
fought
he
at
doesn't look like
185 against Hector Lombard. But so normally when I hear someone's popped by USADA, I'm like, fuck him, fuck every accomplishment he's ever had. Who knows how long he was dirty, etc. He popped for marijuana metabolites. I don't care.
Not even a little bit. So, but I may be wrong here. I thought that only mattered if you're in competition, which is like in air quotes, in competition, because that's a very well laid out and defined thing, what that period of time encompasses. I thought only
that
then.
Too. It looks like we're wrong, and they're pulling him, and he was scheduled to fight Anderson Silva, and now they canceled it, June 3rd.
That's okay. So that flies in the face of what I had read on Reddit.
Right, I'm right there with you.
Subreddit, because what they always say, like I even heard like interviews, like I follow this pretty closely, and I've heard the guy be like, yeah, there's in competition and there's out of competition, and then it might have been Bisping who explained this, but and Bisping went on to talk about that he thought the guy should be on marijuana anyway. He's like, maybe it puts you in a place where you can take more pain. Jiu-jitsu guys are always talking about how much more creative they get when they're on marijuana. I don't buy into that horse shit, but hey, just saying.
I've heard people take less brain damage on it, which if that
add a little more cushion in there.
The science doesn't make sense to me, but it's a thing. I don't know.
You gotta put some goo in there to lessen the brain damage.
He tested positive for carboxy tetrahydrocannabinol, sometimes called carboxy THC, which is a marijuana metabolite. So it's I don't know. I hear THC and I think, oh yeah, I know that's the
he ate some edibles
stuff.
Or he smoked some weed of some kind. He imbibed marijuana in some way or another, and it's been metabolized into that, and they've tested for that.
I wish they would stop enforcing that one.
And if Jerry Jones of the NFL, Dallas Cowboys owner, bigwig, he recently said, we need to stop this with the marijuana. NFL, like stop. Like, what's the point? What are we doing? Like, let them play ball.
I think the NBA may have stopped, although I'm getting that from my ass, but I have it in my head that they stopped testing for marijuana.
Certainly haven't heard about it, and they look like the crowd that like that sort of thing.
The
NHL doesn't test for marijuana.
They don't?
The NBA did a test on Kawhi Leonard last week. 2 weeks ago, I think.
Really?
Also similar thing, yeah. Kawhi Leonard, which has been playing very well for the Spurs.
Yeah,
he just randomly got tested after. Yeah, he scored a 40.
I just lost everybody.
The NBA said time for the test.
Did he pass?
I saw a fighter talking about.
I have no idea.
I saw a fighter talking about a USADA issue today. I watched the video. He had a southern accent and a bit of a mullet. And he looked like a heavy-set guy, but he was basically saying he had tested positive with USADA.
Was he fat?
He didn't look skinny.
It wasn't Roy Nelson, though.
No, definitely not him. Younger guy. He was saying that he had tested positive with USADA for a banned substance, and they looked into it, and it's the same shit that McGuire used back in the day. It's like androgenol or androgenin or androgenin or something like that.
He used creatine too, but I guess it wasn't that.
Yeah, but that's all.
Creatine's fine.
Yeah, creatine's fine. He used this other stuff that's not okay. That's like a test. It's like a steroid and performance enhancer for sure. And it's a banned substance. This guy tests hot for it, and he's like, whoa. And this is him in an interview. I'm parroting him. He's like, that's bullshit. I don't even take creatine. I don't take pre-workout supplements. I don't even take protein. I take a joint supplement. I take a multivitamin. That's it. So he goes to USADA. He goes, boom, boom. This is what I take. But he's like, he literally, it was so funny. He's like, I'm trying to get some riboflavin in this motherfucker. I'm trying to get up on my vitamin A. and then the whole time they've got video of him, there's a bag swinging and he's like ducking the bag and like doing drills and stuff. He's like, I'm trying to get my vitamin A. And as he gives them the supplements, they test not only those supplements, but they pull batches of the same batch number off the shelves, test that shit. And sure enough, it's a tainted supplement. And he's all good, but he was like, now I feel like I got a bad name. Now the Diaz brothers aren't going to want to smoke weed with me. He's like, this is bullshit. It was pretty funny though. I like that guy.
I want to know him now.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up. I'll find it.
It's only a matter of time till they'll get real. Well, I guess really the matter of time is when they legalize pot. They finally take it off all those sports. Because I guess I was wrong. The NHL does test for it. There's just no punishment for marijuana.
You know, the NBA, something about the transformation that NBA players' bodies go through makes me think that steroids are routine around there. Like, they just leave college as lanky, strong, but lanky guys, and they turn into, like, what LeBron James did. And they're just massively perfect physique.
What other drugs do you think they do? Like, do you think they do like cocaine?
I was really talking about
point.
Steroids, but
I know John Wall has done it. John Wall has had a pretty crazy story. He's a point guard for the Wizard, Washington.
He got caught with cocaine.
I'm not sure cocaine, but his dad was a criminal, and he was involved in a shooting against police and all that crazy stuff before I think his first year in the NBA. He was pretty crazy story actually.
Jeez.
So a lot of players in the NBA actually have been tested for drugs. I don't know. Some of them may have been caught.
They do it in the
I don't
NFL
think,
too, but sometimes they like notify the players, or people know that there's a chance they'll be tested in this window, and it's real easy to avoid going positive. And a lot of these things, I don't know if everybody knows, but a lot of these things flush out of your system in like 24 hours. So it's super easy.
Especially Coke. Yeah, Coke goes out of your system super fast. Like I'm surprised that every other sport but the NHL has players are like, oh, he tested hot, but it's guaranteed, like it's known that the NHL has a Coke problem because it's a very good drug, I guess, to do if you're playing hockey, because it gets you really on point and ready for fast reflexes, and you're out there having a blast. I guess. But I saw some. It was some clip of. It was actually Giroux. It was Giroux because he's known as a party animal, the captain of the Flyers a bit, and it was like a ref cam, and he was going up to take a face off, and some other guy on the other team was like, "Hey, Giroux, buddy, you're playing like you had a bit of Pepsi earlier today, huh? Having some Pepsi?" And he's like, "No, I don't do that, huh?" Like, or whatever he said, because the Pepsi clearly being like, you have some Coke before the game, like asking him about saying he did Pepsi, and it's like, yeah, that's definitely a thing, because you would know in the game as they're like lining up for a face-off, and you see some like white shit dripping out of this guy's nose or something. You're like, oh yeah, that's for real.
But isn't Adderall real similar to?
Adderall's real similar to, or I mean, I don't know about the actual effect of what you're feeling, but I know like it also gets you on point. I don't know if maybe it's not as good to do Adderall as cocaine.
I wouldn't imagine that Adderall would give you the rush that cocaine would, but you've seen guys in sports use all kinds of uppers. Back in the day, it was greenies. They even like reference greenies in that It's Always Sunny episode. I can't remember which baseball player it was, but he's that guy who threw the no-hitter while he was on LSD. He's that guy. He was.
Was it Nolan Ryan?
No. He would talk about like doing the green. This was a black guy. He was talking about doing greenies, these amphetamines, and about how many he'd take, and he said something like,
Doc Ellis.
Take Doc Ellis. He's like, I'd take like a whole handful of them and throw them on the table, and whatever stood up, I took. But if not enough stood up, whatever failed, I'd take them instead. And it was like, this is just your way to take an ungodly amount of effort before you hit the field. He's like, I just throw them on the table. Whatever stood up, take it. Sometimes none stood up. So I just take them all. But it used to be on Netflix, and he tells the whole story about the day he went out there high as a kite on LSD, and like he's looking at the picture and like seeing stuff, right? Like he's seeing like the universe flowing into the catcher's mitt, and he's like sending the ball on some sort of Milky Way ride every time he throws
his
it. His
arms like stretching all the way to the glove every time.
Yeah, he's just out of his gourd. It's real fun to hear.
Why would you do that to yourself? It's the same thing that the South Park guys did years ago at the Golden Globes or Oscars or Emmys, one of the award shows. I don't know.
Yeah, you got to keep in mind they were also both dressed as Jennifer Lopez, who the year prior had wore that super sexy dress that was a huge deal, where like her boobs were almost hanging out, and it was like taped to them. It was like split down the front, and so they show up the next year in the same goddamn dress, high on LSD.
Yep.
They're funny.
They are really funny.
They are really funny.
That seems like the most stressful thing in the world to
Not
be like,
give a fuck.
Strong counterpoint.
They even said, they're like, when they're doing the interview, they're like, and for those of you out there who have done LSD, you'll know that the most difficult thing to do is transitioning, and or the most intense thing I think he said is transitioning to a new environment. And so when we pulled up in that limo, we had to basically like open that and be like like into a whole new world of shit.
Like
and
red
like,
carpet.
Oh my God. Like, yeah, like, oh, I can't imagine. So that'd be so stressful. I've never done a hallucinogen, so I don't know. Maybe it really mellows you out to the point where you're like, oh, everything's doing great, I guess. All the floors blend in together or whatever you see.
I don't think mellow is what you get. I'm not sure. Ahmed?
I don't know.
Sorry?
I'm
About
just
the
asking
drugs?
you about LSD. I didn't think you really knew.
I have no idea. But I do know a friend that told me about a friend of his that has been he has failed the university for about 6 years or something. He has fucked his life with alcohol and drugs. And the latest story is that they were in Amsterdam and they were drinking and taking some LSD and other drugs. And 2 days later, he wakes up in the other side of the country near Belgium. In
8 miles
Arnhem.
away.
Well, more like 180 miles away. But anyway, so he wakes up there. He has no idea where he is. He's half naked. People are looking at him at the train station, and that just seems to me ridiculous that you could lose yourself in drugs. So I've never had an experience with that. So
He sounds like Van Wilder. He's still in school. It's not like he flunked out.
Yeah.
He's
He's just hitting his
flunked out.
7th year, right?
After
Sure,
6
he
years.
should be pre-med by now. But hey, he's gonna get that associate's degree. Don't worry. Just
Yeah.
stop rushing him.
He flunked
Because I
out
went-
last year after 6 years, I think he told me.
You got his associates
Crazy guy.
after 6 years?
Kyle made that up.
No, he didn't get anything. He flunked out after 6 years.
No, he didn't make it that far.
He didn't make it to a.
Yeah,
that
he
was
could have
like
got a bachelor.
when when I left college and I had all my friends my age, like most of them were obviously leaving too in 4 years, as most people kind of do in 4 years. And as I was leaving, there were so many people I knew who were like, I'm taking a victory lap, which was what you call a 5th year, where you have to go back and do something else. And at the time, it was like, oh, you lucky son of a bitch. Like, you get to go do that, and I have to go out to the real world. And then, like, visiting back, like, a year and a half later than that, and seeing those same people being like, oh, got rough that last semester. I got to take a 6th year. Sucks, dude. Like, it became very quickly like, this is pathetic. Like, this is not where you should be now. Because these were not people who were like, I just can't figure out the school. It's too hard. It's just people who were like, man, I know this is the 3rd time I've taken accounting too, but I think I'm just going to get high and do nothing again and not
fuck
study.
college girls for another year.
Yeah, as they stay the same age and I get to the creepily
Hey.
old area where, yeah, like...